Lab Addicts Music Group.
This is Conversations with Maas. Subscribe now. Lock in. Let's go. Real street, man, we watching Maas. Real street, man, we call on Maas. Real street, man, we watching Maas. Real street, man, we call on Maas.
Lab Addicts Music Group.
This is Conversations with Maas.
Lab Addicts Music
You know
Group.
what time it is? This is Conversations with Maas. Subscribe now. Lock in. Let's go. Real street, man, we watching Maas. Real street, man, we call on Maas. Real street, man, we watching Maas. Real street, man, we call on Maas.
Lab Addicts Music Group.
This is Conversations with Maas.
Lab Addicts Music Group. Lab Addicts Music Group. Lab Addicts Music Group.
What's goody? What's goody? What's goody? It's your boy Maas. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope everybody had a great weekend. It's a new year. It's the first week of 52 in 2026. Let's hope we have a better 2026 than 2025. But before we go any further, we got to give thanks to the Most High for allowing us to see another day, another sunrise, another sunset, another chance to love on the
Lab
people
Addicts Music Group.
who we cherish. With that being said, tonight is controversial. Tonight is controversial. And before we start, I must explicitly say that cannibalism is not explicitly outlawed in 48 states, but acts associated with it, deletion, abuse of the deletion, desecration of the deletion, health code violations, trafficking, and assault are all illegal everywhere. So while people often say it's legal in 48 states, the accurate framing is most states lack a standalone cannibalism statute. But there is no lawful pathway to practice this. So tonight's question is going to make people uncomfortable. And I did that intentionally. Not because it's grotesque, but because it challenges what we think we know about consumption, consent, legality, and morality. The simple question is, are we consuming human flesh directly or indirectly? And are we pretending we're not? When people hear cannibalism, they imagine extremity, savagery, crime. But most of our society's moral lines aren't enforced by emotion. They're enforced by law, culture, and normalization. Here's something that catches people off guard, as I said it in the opening. There is no explicit law in 48 states that simply says cannibalism is illegal. Now, that doesn't mean it is legal. It means that it's regulated out of existence through other laws: deletion, desecration of the deletion, health violations, trafficking of the deletion, and abuse of the deletion. And that distinction matters. Now ask yourself, if something isn't directly illegal, but systematically impossible, what does that say about how we control behavior? And more importantly, what does that say about what we already consume without thinking? We consume labor. We consume identity through media. We consume trauma as entertainment. We consume youth, beauty, sexuality, and attention. So when we recoil at the idea of consuming flesh, are we reacting to the act or the honesty? Across history, cannibalism hasn't always been taboo. In some cultures, it was ritual. In others, survival. And in others, symbolic. Modern society didn't eliminate cannibalism. It rebranded consumption. We as people, we don't eat bodies. We extract value from them until they're unusable. Is that morally superior or just cleaner? There have been real cases involving consent, medical waste, placentas, funerary misconduct, funerary misconduct, and underground markets. Every time you consume food product, do you ask yourself, did I consume human flesh? It asks, was there consent? Was there exploitation? Was there profit? Or was there harm? That tells us something powerful. Society isn't actually regulating morality, it's regulating control. So tonight's conversation isn't about shock value, even though you may think it is. It's about this question. When we consume food on a daily basis that's manufactured, is there a chance that we could be consuming human flesh? That's the question tonight. That's the question. Because, like they say, they have to tell you something before they do it. They have to tell you. Universal law, they have to tell you before they put something out there to you. And y'all probably asking, what made me have this show tonight? And I'm a conspiracy theorist by nature. And that's not bad. Because you should question your surroundings. Now, I'm not going to talk about any companies. Everything that I'm talking about tonight is for educational purposes only, for research purposes. It's for you to do research on your own to really know what you're consuming. Now we've all heard stories about people working in factories and their fingers getting cut off and different extremities getting cut off and going into the food processing plant. And I would think that if something was to happen like that, an accident, that they would stop production, they would clean the whatever meat product was in there when that, but I've seen some crazy things. Right. Exactly, Kima. Queen Kima, thank you for coming tonight. Yes. This is exactly, she said, this by leaning towards vegan and growing your own food. Don't eat meat. Now, we're going to talk about different scenarios, and this is just hypothetical. It's just hypothetical. We've all heard of Soylent Green, which some people say they are using human byproducts to fertilize different foods across America. We've all heard people say, how can fast food places sell so many burgers with a limited supply of meat. We've also heard people talk about why the population has grown, but not cemeteries and graveyards. And we've heard all these things. But did you really think about it? If it's not hamburger meat we're eating, what is it we're eating? And there's been funny advertisements on certain food products. And now some places are selling 3D printed meat. Watermelons are exploding. All types of stuff. This happening. This never happened in the history of the world. And I saw a video where a lady was cooking some food or something, and she actually had, now I don't know what it was, but it was someone's jawbone, and there were human like teeth in the jawbone, in the meat that she purchased from the store. Now, this is crazy. Do we really have to be suspicious of the food products that we are being sold on a daily basis? You go to the store, and now they have like these bargain, like $10 packs of wings and $5 packs of hamburger meat and $5 this and $5 that. And some of the meat that's in this, I don't eat meat from the grocery store. I don't. And if you do, I don't know how you do. I do not eat meat from the grocery store. I go to the butcher. Because I know the butcher is giving me the said meat that's on his display. I don't shop it for meat at the grocery store. I very rarely eat hamburger meat because it comes from a whole bunch of different. It's not like it comes from one cow, unless you purchase your meat. My brother, example. One of the reasons why I don't eat meat from the store no more. My brother and a couple of his friends went in and bought a cow. All of their meat, including hamburger meat, ground beef, comes from that one cow. That's the only way that you should eat ground beef and stuff like that, is if you know it comes from one cow. Hot dogs, reprocessed meat, just 2026, y'all. We have to do better. We don't know what they're feeding us. We don't know what they're feeding us. Queen Kingman says she's not eating. I'm not eating that. Literally, she ain't eating that. Then I'm gonna try to find it. There's a KFC commercial where they carry this person through the jungle and they put the person in a lake of gravy, KFC gravy. And then they pulled the person that they put into the gravy out, and the person is now a piece of chicken. And they carry the person off into the jungle to do who knows what. Now, I'm going to try to find that commercial. But like I said in the beginning of the show, they have to tell you what they're doing in order to be in alignment with the universe. I don't believe in coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidences. That's them telling you what they're going to do. Willful knowledge. We put it out there, even though it's in a fictitious form or it's in a movie, but we put it out there. This is why stuff seems like a coincidence when stuff happens, is because they have to tell you what they're doing before they do it, so that it's willful knowledge that it's out there in the universe. I don't believe in coincidences. And I'm not saying that that's what, but when you see a commercial, it's put there for you to put your own implications on it. Now, whether you take that as face value or I don't know. But I look at stuff with a discerning eye. Language is funny. Language is funny. You can go to the court system and present your information with certain vocabulary, and the judge will receive you differently. It's just going up there and speaking in layman's language. So when you see stuff, you have to look at it with a discerning eye. Because there will always be an explanation of why they did something, or why it was presented like this, or why, or why the way that you're looking at it is not how you should look at it. But it's out there. Whether you take the correct knowledge from it is on you. There's a conspiracy that claims that KFC chicken isn't chicken. And there's also a conspiracy, not with KFC, but there's an overall conspiracy that human remains are being recycled into food supply chains. Why do people believe this? Industrial food production is intentionally non-transparent. Unless you work in these places, you don't know what goes on. I mean, we've seen the videos of the pink goo the stuff that becomes hot dogs, and we've seen all this stuff. But what haven't you seen? That's what they've allowed you to see in terms of food production process. What else goes on that the camera doesn't see, that people don't talk about? You know, when we saw the pink slime, it's like something lab created in a lab. All the additives that are added to it. I don't know if you eat hot dogs, but if you've ever seen what hot dogs are made of and how they are made, I don't think you would eat hot dogs any longer. I don't think I've ate a hot dog I haven't ate a glizzy in over 25 years. It's been 25 years since I ate a glizzy. Another reason why some people believe these conspiracy theories about food and human remains is fast food operates at an inhuman scale. There's not enough cows for there to be enough meat to sell 1 million hamburgers a day. It's not enough. As well, corporations have previously lied about the ingredients in their food products, historically documented across industries. So while stuff is certified by USDA and FDA and these agencies, do we really know what is in the food byproducts? Do we really know? Now, there is no evidence of human flesh in fast food. I must say that. There is no evidence of human flesh in fast food. But fast food is sold on an inhuman scale worldwide. Now, when you go outside of America, the food that you consume is a lot different than the food you consume in the United States. And anybody that has traveled outside of America knows this. The food, the fruit, the way stuff tastes, how fresh it is completely different than the food we eat in America. Queen Kima said, I purchased some salmon. And when I defrosted it, it turned into mush. Yeah, I don't eat tilapia. Tilapia was created in a lab. As well, tilapia is used to clean at the fisheries. Tilapia is used to clean the fish troughs where they keep sea bass. After they take the sea bass out, they put the tilapia in to eat all the excrement. I didn't know that. Yeah, y'all didn't know that. I do not eat tilapia. Yeah, never have. That's one of the main reasons. It's not, it's a lab fish. And it's used to clean sea bass fish troughs or whatever fish. Yeah, I don't eat that. But I don't know. I haven't ate a whole lot of fast food in a long time. YWG said cleaning. That's why they are so tasty. I don't eat that stuff, man. That's why they so tasty. I don't know. But the conspiracy persists because people cannot visualize the legitimate supply chain, which creates psychological space for suspicion. When systems scale beyond human comprehension, the imagination fills the gap. Or is it imagination? I don't think it's imagination. It's conspiracy. I don't think it's something somebody imagined. I think people are skeptical of the food supply that we get. There's so many different types of fish that I had never heard of that you sway. What is sway? What type of where did this fish sway? Where did this shit come? I mean, where did this stuff come from? I've never heard of sway, and I've been fishing since I was little. And not one time was there ever in the frozen fish section was there sway. Where did it come from? What is it? What type of fish is sway? Somebody please tell me. Is it another lab-grown fish? Are they creating food supply? YWG said it's not food supply, it's products. What is sway? What is it? Soylent Green. The Soylent Green movie was a critique of the food industry. They looked at things like overpopulation anxiety, the corporate's control of food, resource scarcity. And I'm going to talk about resource scarcity on another level. It's kind of political, but it's still part of the conversation. And dehumanization through efficiency. Right. What? Salmon is a type of eel? That's a new one. I haven't heard that one. Queen Kima said there isn't even enough fruit and vegetables to be sold in supermarkets. YWG will tell you this. Queen Kima can speak to this as well. Queen Kima and YWG, when we travel outside of the United States and you're in another country, you can walk down the street and there'll be a fruit tree, whatever. I mean, mango, just for reference, a mango tree. There'll be a mango tree. And even though it's in someone's yard, people will come by and get one or two or three, and they'll keep going. You couldn't do that in America. Somebody would come and try to take all the apples off of the tree. What's up, Juggernaut? There's a reason why you can't buy female fruit seeds. That's why pollen. This is why so much hay fever and pollen. Because there's no female plants for all that pollen to pollinate. Because when you go and you buy a tree or you buy a fruit tree or I don't even know if you buy any type of tree, they sell you male seeds or male plants. That's why you can't really grow a fruit tree because it's male and female. And the plants that they sell to people, for the most part, when you buy any type of tree or it's a male, you can almost guarantee it's a male plant. That's why so much pollen. There's no seeds for the pollen. Pollen, there's so much pollen because all the trees are male. Yeah. They're not going to, yeah. If you go buy a female oak tree and a male oak tree, you'll get another oak tree. But they don't want you to grow trees. It's just crazy. It sounds crazy, but yeah. And then another thing about Soylent Green, that movie, is when that movie came out, they were just hypothetically talking about lab-grown meat. Now, lab-grown meat is real. Synthetic proteins are real. And corporate branding hides origin stories. There's this show that came on Apple TV. And I can't think of the name of it, but basically it was about how the government there was this plant. And the people lived in the real world, but when they went to work, their brain got zapped where they were put back into work. Whatever they were doing at work, they wouldn't take that information at home. So these people somehow, as in anything, somebody became outside of the parameter and figured out that the government was putting stuff into the food supply that the people were consuming unknowingly. And there were bad things that were happening. It was like an experiment. And they would put out different types of food with different types of dosages of whatever it was that they were put into it, and different things that I can't think of the name of it. It comes on Apple TV. It was really good. Queen Kima says she's going back to wild. Yeah. They have this store here in Cincinnati. It's called Jungle Gyms. And you can go into Jungle Gyms and buy game fish. The thing about game fish is game fish have been here. But for some reason, game fish can't be sold in a regular grocery store. Now, you can go to this place called Jungle Gyms and they'll have bluegills and they'll have sunfish and they'll have octopus and they'll have different types of fish that it's wild. You're not supposed to be able, well, you can't buy it in a regular store, but they have big enough tanks where they can say that they fished it out of the tank and then they can sell it to you. Yeah. Queen Kima says she's going back to wild caught fish or nothing. You eat more fish when you up top. Yeah. And I mean, we must talk about this. I don't know where it was, but like I said, I don't really watch the news on TV. I watch the news on YouTube, and there was this restaurant that basically was found out to be chopping up cats. The food supply is tainted because you have so many different cultures that are preparing food for people. And the thing about it is some of the animals that these other immigrants that have come to America, they come here eating the same things that they ate in their countries. And some of that stuff that they eat is stuff that we don't consume. We don't consume. I'm just being perfectly honest with you. I'm not calling out no particular group, but there are immigrant groups inside America that eat animals that we don't eat. Now, growing up, I had family from the country. There were things that my great grandmother used to prepare that those things didn't get passed down. Don't get passed down. Yeah. If you're black, you've heard of people eating raccoon, hedgehog, just different squirrel. Now, I've never ate a squirrel, but my grandmother gave me a squirrel tail. So I would think that if she gave me a squirrel tail, she probably cooked a squirrel. I don't know. Yeah, you go outside of America and America has these big supersized fruits. These big supersized, everything is supersized because you go outside of America and the fruits aren't supersized. The fruits aren't supersized. Bananas aren't 11 inches long. Yeah, they don't have foot long bananas when you go outside of America. Usually bananas are about 4 or 5 inches. Since I've been going outside the country, I don't even like those big bananas. I don't even like those big bananas no more. I like the little bitty bananas. Because when you go outside of America, they don't get them big old bananas. That's a lab banana. Yeah, the food supply. Rabbit. I have ate rabbit. These are things that are common. But like I was saying, it was sensationalized, and this what we're talking about isn't cannibalism. We're talking about the food supply and people unknowingly consuming things that may be introduced into the food supply. That's what we're talking about. But people could unknowingly be cannibals. If you unknowingly did something, would that make you that? A lot of people think it's one of the worst. I mean, like they said, Some people are cannibals. It's in their culture. There are tribes in the Amazon forest. There are tribes in We've heard throughout history when wars, the people that conquered, they would eat the person's heart. We've seen these things. Yeah, possum. People eat possum. Yeah, 3D meat is wild. Yeah, but I mean, these are things that were they didn't get introduced into, you could say that these were foods that people ate for necessity. For necessity. That, and I would think that there are still people that I'm pretty sure that there are people who still cook possum. There are people who still eat squirrel. There's people who still eat rabbit. I'm pretty sure. It's not something that is in general population, but yeah. I mean, where y'all think the meat was from? Yeah, if you was born in the 70s, where y'all think the rabbit meat was going for them rabbit coats y'all girls used to wear? They used to have about 20 different patches on they used to have them rabbit coats. It was like a fake fur. You have patches of different colors all on it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Where y'all think that rabbit meat went when they was making them rabbit coats? Where do all the cows come from? Where do all the cows come from? This is the most persistent modern conspiracy in fast food. And it's a conspiracy for good reason. Consider billions of burgers. Billions, not millions, not hundreds of millions. Billions of hamburgers are sold every year. Billions with a B. Of cheeseburgers, hamburgers, triples, doubles, quarter pounders with cheese, jack burgers. Millions, billions are sold each year. There's only a limited number of mega slaughter operations. There's only a few. There isn't a mega slaughterhouse in every state. There isn't. There isn't. Consolidated agribusiness ownership. Me, I stopped drinking Lipton tea when a certain company purchased it. I don't drink Lipton tea, and you can look it up and see what company purchased Lipton tea, and you'll be like, why would they purchase Lipton tea? Are they thinking about doing something with it? Conspiracy theorists. Yeah. Just look at the company. It's not a agribusiness where businesses that chemical business buying into food operations. Consolidated agribusiness ownership. Heavy use of fillers, blending, and reconstitution of the stuff that lots of people consume on a daily basis. Now, those are the things to consider. But what actually fuels the speculation is people imagine whole cows per burger instead of blended protein systems. YWG's wife is from Brazil, and she said she does not like American ground beef. She said it tastes weird. Meat processing is intentionally hidden from public view. Meat production is intentionally hidden from what do they mean? Like I said, it's why I like to go to the butcher. You should look into the local butcher. There's plenty of butcher. Now, that's one thing that you can say is there's one in every state. Butcher. People would be best served to purchase a cow. And if you're not able to do that, learn where your local butcher is. The butcher can become your best friend when it comes to healthy consumption of meats. YWG said there was a report. I mean, people must understand. People must understand. Whenever you're talking about restaurants, stuff like that, your well-being is really not considered. There's a bottom line for how much they're trying to make, and that's what matters. That's why people are suspicious. That's why people are suspicious. Juggernaut said, unless you know the farmer and buy the cow directly, you don't know what you're getting. You don't. You're getting a hosh, you're getting ground beef that's a hosh posh of no telling how many different cows. Man. I'll be honest. I'm hard pressed to eat beef that does not, or chicken that does not attached to a bone. I like meat bone in because it can't be glued together. Most of those glued meats, those 3D printed meats, they don't have this. There's no bone. There's no bone in because they can 3D print a whole lot of stuff, but they can't 3D print a bone and marrow. That's one thing that 3D printer can't print is bone and marrow. Yeah. Can't 3D print bone and marrow. There's a lot to be said right there. YWG said, I saw a report that there are less than 5 food suppliers for rest. Exactly. I mean, what are they? One is AmeriFood. We got AmeriFood. I think it's AmeriFood. We got Cisco. We got AmeriFood. If it's 5 of them, what's the other 3? YWG. Cisco. AmeriFood. Oh, I already know. Hold on, I'm gonna look them up. 5 major food suppliers of American food. 5 major. Wow. This is going to trip you out. One company in particular. The 5 major food companies globally include Nestle, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Tyson Foods, and Unilever. Okay, U.S. Foods, Cisco, Chef Store, and Performance Food Group are the food suppliers, the food companies. I did not know that Unilever was one of the 5 major food companies. And if you don't know about Unilever, hold on. And I would say that Unilever is now a agribusiness. Unilever was formed by a merger of Dutch margarine Uni and British soap maker Lever Brothers on January 1930. Wow. I did not know that Unilever, I thought they made cleaning products. Wow. Unilever's company products include baby food, beauty products, bottled water, breakfast cereals, cleaning agents, condiments, dairy products, energy drinks, healthcare and hygiene products, ice cream, instant coffee, instant noodles, pet food, pharmaceuticals, soft drinks, tea, and toothpaste. It is also the largest producer of soap in the world, and its products are available in over 190 countries. The company is organized into 4 main business groups: beauty and well-being, personal care, home care, and nutrition. Wow. I think Unilever is the company that purchased Lipton. Unilever purchased Lipton tea, and that's when I stopped drinking Lipton tea. Because I was like, why is Unilever purchasing what they gonna do to the lip, what they gonna put in the tea? Wow. Wow. Unilever is one of the 5 major food companies in the world, which would make them the largest agribusiness conglomerate. What y'all think about that? Whew. Back to cows. The scale of burger consumption the scale feels mathematically impossible to the average consumer. The conspiracy isn't that the math doesn't work, it's that the math is never shown. Where's all the beef coming from? Where is all the beef that people consume on a daily basis? Where is it coming from? What are they adding to the meat to stretch it? We all know about stretching something. You want the last of that A1 sauce out the bottle, you run a little bit of water in there so you can squish it around and get all the rest of the A1 and then pour it on your steak. We use centrifugal force to get the whatever's at the top of the down to the bottom so we can squeeze. We squeeze toothpaste until it's squeezed in a circle all the way to the. How do they stretch? That meat. So, billions of burgers. Chat GPT. Can you tell me how many cows it would take to make 1 billion burgers annually? Using the reasonable industry averages, you're looking at an order of 600,000 to 1.2 million cattle per year to produce 1 billion burgers, depending mainly on patty size and how much usable beef you consume per animal. Chat GPT. Is it possible for 1 billion hamburgers to be sold annually with the amount of cows worldwide? And ChatGPT asked me which response I prefer. And it's giving me two responses. And it's still thinking. Okay. ChatGPT said, I need to figure out. Okay. It says yes. This is response one. I'm going to read both the responses. It said yes. 1 billion hamburgers per year is easily feasible relative to both A, global beef output, and B, the number of cattle processed annually. Why it's feasible. Compare beef needed versus beef produced globally. Assume a typical patty size, quarter pounder. Beef required for a billion burgers equals 250 million pounds, 113,400 metric tons of beef. So 1 billion quarter pound burgers would require roughly 0.19% of I don't believe that. I don't 1 billion. They're basically saying that 1 billion quarter pounders, roughly 113,400 metric tons of beef, divided by 60 million. I don't believe that. Basically saying that a billion burgers can be created from less than 1% of annual global beef production. Do we believe that? Okay. This is response number two. It depends mainly on patties. And the question was, how many cows would it take to make 1 billion burgers in a year? It depends mainly on patty size and how much beef per animal ends up as ground burger beef. A practical way to estimate is usable retail beef per animal divided by pounds per burger. And it says the University of Wisconsin Extension shows an example where a 1,200 pound cow yielded about 481 pounds of take home product, retail cuts. The University of Nebraska Lincoln gives a similar order of magnitude 570 pounds of product from a 1,400 pound animal after deboning and trimming. Using 481 pounds of usable beef per head as a conservative baseline, quarter pounder burgers, 0.25 of a pound, a billion times 0.25 of a pound equals 250 million pounds of beef. 250 million pounds of beef divided by 481 pounds is 520,000 cattle. One third pound burger would equal 690,000 cattle. If you assume only 60% of the retail product becomes ground beef. The rest is sold as steaks and roasts. You'd scale up to quarter pound patties, 870,000 cattle, 1/3 pound patties, 1.15 million cattle. So a reasonable planning range is 0.5 million to 1.2 million per year for a billion burgers, depending on patty. Okay, but are there a million? I guess. I guess. Exactly, YWG. I was gonna say that they got them bulls on uppers putting in their they have to. Global beef production is on the order of 60 million metric tons, USDA figures, 2023, 2024. Says it's plausible. A billion burgers would only take less than a million. But I will say this. If it takes 690,000 cattle, now we didn't even factor in how many cattle die, how many cattle are basically deemed you can't use the meat. We didn't put in recalls. I'm not sure. Because how long does it take for a cow to grow to the size that it sells? Does the cow go from being a baby cow to a full-grown cow in less than a year? I'm just asking. I don't believe that. I don't believe that a billion hamburgers come from less than 1% of the cattle. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't make sense. 690,000 cattle, that's more than 0.19% of worldwide production of cows. If there's 1.2 million cattle worldwide. That don't make sense. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Do you all believe that? What I just read you all we don't believe that. Because 690,000 is more than 0.19%. I don't know. But a cow does not, but I'm not sure. I would need someone that was an expert on cows but I don't think that a baby cow would grow to full size in 12 months unless they injecting it with something. And another thing, I don't know what the pregnancy cycle is for a cow, but cows don't have twins and triplets, and the cow has one calf. So even if there were 1.2 million cow, how many of those cow are female? And if a cow can only have one calf per pregnancy cycle, that's almost that does it make sense to you all? I'm just asking. We're an hour and 15 minutes of the show. Hit the like button for me. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the page. Share this video out. It's going to help me grow the page. I just crossed over 500,000 views and I'm still not monetized. So we got to get the monetization. So I'm going to need y'all to hit the like button so I can get into the algorithm. Share this video out and subscribe to the page. Hit that notification button so you know when your boy's going on. But yeah, I do. Yeah, where are all the cows coming from? Where are all the cows coming from? The math ain't mathing to me. It's not. Why aren't the next conspiracy we're going to look at? Why aren't there more graveyards? The death infrastructure conspiracy. As population grows, people expect to see death physically expand. But instead, cemeteries don't dominate landscape. Graveyards don't grow proportionately. Urban death feels invisible. This fuels theories about conspiracy theories about body recycling, mass cremation concealment, unaccounted remains, institutionalized disposal systems. But the reality, which still unsettles people, cremation rates exceed 60% in America. Lots of people are deciding to go through cremation. Graves are reused internationally. I'm going to say that again. Graves are reused internationally. Vertical mausoleums do exist. Death has been logistically minimized, but not eliminated. Why, if the population has grown at an exponential rate, why haven't graveyards? Even if 60% of the people that pass, their families are deciding to cremate them. Still, why aren't there new graveyards? Cemeteries, graveyards are associated with the church. Cemeteries are not. Sorry about that. Why are there not more cemeteries? Wow. Queen Kima said, I know our organs are being stolen. She's settled with it. I pray to be used by the ocean gods, cremate me, and toss me in the ocean. Organs are being stolen, and people's bodies are coming up with the organs missing, and they weren't organ donors. Wow. But really, you would think that there would be larger cemeteries, just because of the growth of population. But I mean, maybe people are deciding to cremate to go through the process of cremation. And that could be because of cost. We know that coffins do cost a lot. I'm not sure how much. Yeah, I'm not an organ donor neither. I want to go back to the essence with all of my extremities. Unless I have a family member that needs something, but yeah, I'm not an organ donor. And I've had people that have told me that I should be an organ donor, but I think if you get on that organ donor list, something might happen to you if they need an organ. Conspiracy theory. But that's how I feel about organ. I feel that, I mean, you are put on a list as an organ donor, and we don't know what that list means. Being an organ donor could be willful acceptance of, if somebody needs your organ, you'll donate it. Wittingly or unwittingly. So no, I'm sorry. Wow. Coffins are $10K for just the box. Yeah, that's a lot of money if you don't have insurance. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I think everyone should have a living will. So that in the event that something happens to you, that your family will know what to do in the event something happens to you. So your wishes can be upheld. That's how I feel about that. But tonight we've been talking about, are we consuming human flesh? And we've talked about several different conspiracy theories. And for the most part, some of the stuff has, I wouldn't say debunked, but I would say that there was an answer for everything, but not really a clear answer. I think that there's an opaqueness about how some of the answers are framed, or some of the stuff that Chat GPT said. It just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right. Like I said, I don't know what the gestation period, I don't know what the pregnancy period for a cow is. I'm not sure if it's 9 months. Chat GPT, what is the pregnancy cycle for a cow? Yeah. A cow can only have one calf a year. The pregnancy cycle for a cow is 9 months and 10 days. And like I said, cows don't have twins and triplets and quadruplets. They don't. One cow has one female cow, one heifer. Yeah, my great grandmother used to call it one of them heifers. One heifer. One heifer will have one calf a year. Pontoon Jody. What's going on, Jody? The lady angler catfish. Okay, Pontoon Jody's. So yeah, a cow can only have a heifer. A heifer can only have one calf a year. Wow. And I would say that there are more heifers than bulls. I would think that there's more heifers than bulls. But they working them cows. They are working those cows. Hey, yeah, there's just no. They are working those cows. How many? Yeah, how many times can a cow give birth? Moo, yeah, moo. Yeah. How many? How many calves can a heifer birth in a lifetime? A heifer becomes a cow after her first birth. Okay. Thank you for correcting me, Chad GPT. So after a heifer has a calf, she's no longer a heifer, she's a cow. Okay. Over a productive cow's lifetime, a well managed cow will typically produce 8 to 12 calves. Lower end, commercial, high turnover, 5 to 7 calves. Typical, well managed herd, 8 to 12 calves. Those are probably the the cows that are on a farm or butcher, things like that are taken care of, that aren't pinned up. Yep. Pontoon Jody said some farms let cows have babies to get the milk to sell. Exceptional longevity, good genes cow can have between 13 to 15 calves. It's uncommon. So basically, half of the cow population is slaughtered on a yearly basis. And then I guess that not sure how many cows there are, but I guess a cow would then replenish. Hold on. Yeah. Chat GPT. How long does it take a calf to grow to the size to go to slaughter? Okay. So after a cow was born, it takes 14 to 24 months for it to grow till it goes to the slaughterhouse. So one cow births one calf a year. And then that calf, it takes 2 years to grow to the weight to go to slaughter. Does this seem plausible to y'all that it's enough cows to create 1 billion hamburgers a year? Okay, so Pontoon Jody, tonight's conversation, we're talking about, are we unknowingly consuming human flesh? And one of the conspiracies was that there's not enough cows for there to be enough beef for 1 billion burgers a year. But lots of companies are coming out and saying that they have 100% this, 100% that. Wow. Whoa. Pontoon Jody said, no, you're eating horse. Wow. So Pontoon Jody, what you're saying is that you think that they're adding horse meat to the beef as filler, beef filler to stretch. And I asked about 15 minutes ago, Pontoon Jody, what are they doing to stretch the meat food supply? And you said, no, you're eating horse. And the key word is beef filler. Wow, Jody. Wow, Jody. That kind of makes sense. That kind of makes sense, Jody. Wow. In some countries, they add horse meat to the beef. I was today years old when I learned this. I thought, and Jody, I'll say this because I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, and we had a Purina dog food plant. And they said that dog food is made out of horse meat. Wow. I didn't think of that. Adding other meats as beef fillers. Damn, Jody. With everything that we've said tonight, it makes me even more fearful of eating fast food burgers. Like I said, I go to the butcher. Right. Pontoon Jody said it's untelling what you're eating. Do we really know what we're eating? We started out talking about, but do we as American citizens, do we with 100% certainty know what we're eating? Do we? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that that's one of the goals of a agribusiness is to create foods that taste like what you think it's supposed to taste like, even if it's not what you think it is. Have you unknowingly ate cat? Was that a cat leg in your rice? Are you 100% certain that that was a piece of chicken? Is that General Soul's chicken? Is that really dark chicken? Is the General Soul's that you eat from the corner store Chinese place that really chicken? That hamburger egg roll you eating, is that really hamburger in that egg roll? The purpose of the show is to make you think, to make you know or have some semblance of knowing what you're putting in your body. We don't know what these people are putting in the food. We don't know what's in those protein powders. Does the hamburger really have horse meat in it? Are people being recycled? It makes you think. And like Queen Kima said at the beginning of the show, she's going vegan and growing her own fruits and vegetables. I know YWG grows his own fruits and vegetables. Is it time for us to pool our resources? Wow. Pontoon Jody said in Tennessee, they had a Chinese store here get caught picking up a roadkill deer and cutting it up in their kitchen. I assume to cook. Wow. Wow. Now, in some states, you can be put on the roadkill list for deer. And when there's a roadkill, if it's I don't know what they would deem good for you to take. The state will allow for you to, they give it to you, but you have to do all the cleaning and whatever you got to do to it. But some states do allow you to, but I don't think that they would allow you to get roadkill for public consumption. That would be for personal consumption. So yeah, I'm glad they did get caught with Pontoon Jody. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy right there. We're an hour and 40 minutes into this controversial show. We've been talking about the food supply. What foreign bodies have been introduced into the food supply to stretch it? Because we always hear about food shortages and wasting food and things. And I wanted to have this conversation because in 48 states, cannibalism is legal. But the means of being able to do it are illegal. I saw this one video about this person that basically agreed to be deleted and then consumed. The person that did it was arrested, and they were arrested for basically deletion and desecration of a deletion and something about evidence. Because this wasn't the first time that this person had done that. That person's in jail now, I think, for deletion, not for cannibalism. So there are things that you can look up on the internet. I didn't really get into the sensational types of information because I kind of wanted to keep this on a non-sensational level. But there are sensational stories that you can find out there about people who deleted people and introduced them into public consumption, and people consumed these deleted individuals unknowingly. Now, if this is happening unknowingly on a small scale, it could be happening on a large scale. Now, I'll let you all do the research to find those stories, but yeah, those are a couple stories that are out there that you can do your research on and you can look them up. It's 2 examples of cannibalism and how people can unknowingly consume things that they don't know. As with all the shows, y'all know I'm going to talk about the stuff that other people aren't going to talk about, that they won't talk about, that they're afraid to talk about. But we combat everything head on. That's what we do here. That's what we do. But are we consuming human flesh? Who knows? I would hope not, because I'm of the belief that it is against the Most High's will to consume human flesh. So I would hope that I haven't unknowingly consumed something that has been introduced into general population. As always, everybody be safe. Think about what we talked about. Do your own research. If you find something, hit me up. Let me know. Because just like you all, I am searching for answers.
Lab Addicts Music Group.
It's been another edition of Adult Conversations with Maas. And I will see you all on Thursday evening. Everybody have a great. I'm out.
Lab Addicts Music